First, welcome everybody. This is Wargamer Shawn. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to you guys. I'm making this on Christmas. I don't know if we'll get up before the next day or not. And some of you in England, it for sure will be the 26th because I'm making it at 9:20 p.m. on Christmas Day for me, and I'm Central Time in the United States. So hopefully you guys all had a good holiday and had a lot of fun. I didn't. I did a lot of stuff for work and end of the year stuff and kid stuff, and today I did a lot with kiddos, so I didn't really do any hobby stuff during this last week. And I did play a game. I had my camera and I forgot my other battery, so I wasn't able to record it. So I didn't even start because I knew it was low. I wasn't gonna be able to film the whole thing. So I will try to get next week some. We're going to be doing a campaign next week that somebody's running in the group, and it's Imperium versus Tau. And I had both, so I told them I would play whichever one needed it, and it looks like I'm going to be playing Sisters of Battle. So I have some Sisters of Battle with a new codex, although honestly I will do a video on that. The new Imperium, Agents of the Imperium codex did put the Sisters in it, although it took out Saint Celestine, and actually changed the way it used to be. You could take an HQ of priests, but you could take up to 5 in one like HQ slot, and now it's just a separate HQ, and then they have some attachments that allow you. So I would say honestly the codex has everything else is the same. They did add some other things into it from Inquisition, but I think they just didn't know where to put them. But other than that, I think the old online codex was actually better. I hate to say it, but that's the way I feel now. I'm hoping they get maybe a codex proper or some supplement rules, because I saw that they have Saint Celestine they're redoing, and so I'm hoping that there's going to be some more rules for them. So anyway, I thought it was high time to kind of do end of the year stuff and do a Q&A, because it's been since October 9th since I did my last one. Sorry about that, guys. So it's probably high time I do it. I kind of wanted to also discuss things I'm planning for the new year, kind of go from there. I wanted to also do a shout out and thank you to first of all to Chief Lab Gaming. He was very nice, and Jake made me an Armon figure from the Burning of Prospero and painted it for me for my 30k Thousand Suns army, which was very nice. And I'll have to showcase it. He didn't finish it because he wanted me to put the finish like what I do with my army, so it goes with it. So I got some finishing touches to put on it, and then I will show you guys with when I do another army update with the 30k. The other shout out is to Tattoo for You Richard. He was nice and sent me some Stygian, or I think it's like Egyptian Suns shoulder pads, which is a company I actually got some Terminators for my 30k group, or 30k army, and I'm actually making some of the sergeants with the Egyptian Suns body, so the shoulder packs will actually be very nice, and it was very nice of them to do that. Neither one of them had to do that. It was very nice, so thank you to both of them. And I'll try to put it in the link below, but if you're not subscribed already, check out their channels. You probably are, but check them out. They're good channels. So what are my plans for going into the new year? I was hoping to have, as I know Idic Beer's doing Nick's doing a painting challenge, kind of get stuff done end of the year. I'm still going to work on my 30k army for his New Year's painting challenge, but I want to finish Magnus, and I have more of him done. And I'm liking him. Sorry guys, a lot without the armor on. So I think I'm actually going to put there's a little belt buckle that fits in that spot there, and then his little crown. But otherwise, I don't think I'm going to put his armor on, just because I like him without the armor. I put so much work into the skin, I kind of want to leave it. I still have some finishing touches on like some of the metal parts, and obviously the nails and the horns and the eyes, and the blue parts of the robe here, but he's looking good. I'm pretty happy with how he looks. Who knows, I might change my mind, but I originally wanted the armor for sure, but the more I worked on him, I'm like, yeah, I really like how he looks without his armor, so I might not put his armor on, except for the there's a little belt buckle bit that kind of goes on him. So he can look like a belt buckle wearing guy. Anyway, what are my plans? Those are my painting plans. I want to try to get my 30K stuff done for Adepticon. I'm kind of on a waiting list, but my friend Brad and I are hopefully going to get in and play in the team tournament and play in the singles event on Saturday. And then I want to get Magnus done and some more Thousand Sun stuff, so that if I'm playing 40K, I can play that as more of a fun army. I don't want to play super competitive. And unfortunately, and I haven't filmed the last couple games, but Magnus and I think I was kind of to some degree wrong with him, even though he's only a monstrous creature just because he's in the air. It's really hard to hurt him because he's in the air, you know, and so he devastates stuff because he can, with the formation that I run, he can run 6 powers because he can manifest an extra power, and so he usually does most of the work, although he's most of the points in the army because he's almost 700 points. He's the one that usually does most of it. The game I just played was against Astromilitarum and Inquisition with Codiez and another Ordo Malleus Inquisitor, and he had a Calexis Assassin. The Calexis Assassin did cause me some trouble because I had to kind of try to keep my guys away from it, and it did. I had a squad of Terminators with the relic that could kind of jump 12 inches, and I really kind of stayed away from him because that Calexis would just devastate that squad, and I really didn't want to get close to him. So it did kind of keep me at bay with him. I just tried to shoot him from afar, but they did kind of mess up Magnus a little bit, but I was usually able to stay away from him because he's a flying monstrous creature, so he can usually move fast enough to keep away from the Calexis. But in the end, he did have a the super heavy, the main super heavy for IG, the tank, and I'm forgetting what it was, but I was able to eventually kill it. It took like 3 turns, and then I was able to kill it, and mainly because I had D, because otherwise I didn't have anything strong enough because he was armor 14 that I just couldn't hurt it. I only had some strength 8 missiles, and that was it. So I really had to rely on my psychic powers to kill it, and the D was the one. Although I did 1 D shot and I rolled a 1 and didn't do anything. But yeah, and I never rolled a 6. Excuse me, on the D damage chart, so I never got 6 plus D6 hull points. But it was a fun game, and my opponents, the ones that I've played with, have known that I'm playing with Magnus, so they kind of know. But the rest of my army really isn't. I've run a squad of Rubrics and a squad of Terminators, and then some Sorcerers and Armon. I mean, it's not a big list, so you know, if you're playing against him, honestly, get rid of the rest of the guys and kind of ignore Magnus, which is tough because he's doing damage. But anyway, that's my plans. If I get done with my new Thousand Suns, I plan on working on the Gene Stealer cults that I've been wanting to get to, but I just haven't gotten to them. Another kind of fun army, although you can run them very competitively right now. They're good against Eldar. They're in competitive scene. They do have their counters with other armies, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. I did get a microphone and a boost, whatever it's called, boost gear, or something that you kind of wear in your collar, so I can record better and get better sound with the microphone that I can attach to the camera. The current camera that I have, it doesn't allow a microphone to attach, and unfortunately I've got a very small computer right now for at home, and unfortunately that computer doesn't have a microphone hookup, so I'm just using the microphone on the computer, which isn't the greatest. So what I might start doing is just recording all of it with the camcorder with the microphone, just get better sound. So that's basically what's kind of planned here. I'm gonna do the question and answers, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that, and hopefully you guys have a good holiday. I wish you guys nothing but the best. and I hope the new year is good and better for you. I'm kind of ready to be done with 2016. I think a lot of people are. Um, Another singer just died. I heard today. George Michaels. Don't know exactly know why. He's very old, but yeah, we've lost a lot of people. Hopefully, Carrie Fisher hangs in there. Can't lose Princess Leia. Um, but let's get into the question and answer. The first one I have is from Underdog Painting, which I think was Baza. I think it is. He had a question. And this was a while ago, so this was in October 9th, and this was soon after I had left the Legion of Gamza. He had a question. He says, "Don't take it the wrong way, but do you think it's more relaxed not being in the Legion of Gamza, that you don't have to go by the rules and that there's no pressure?" That's a good question. Thanks for asking, and thanks for commenting on my videos. He always does. He does a great job on. He does a good job on his videos too. So thanks for commenting. You know, I left the group voluntarily, and I tried to do it with. I did it. I didn't want to leave. This sounds bad. I didn't want to leave the group. I loved being in a group, and I loved being part of a group that was something. And I gotta say that Nick Idikbeer has done such a fantastic job, and he's such a supportive guy. And I felt bad even kind of leaving it, just because he has done so much for so many people in the group, including myself. And I felt bad, but the reason I left is the person whose namesake is the group. You know, I have some issues ethically with some of the things that he says and believes, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but I feel like the way he's very he'll tell you like it is his opinion, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but he's right and you're wrong no matter what. There's no seeing it any other way, and I don't like intolerance, and I don't like ignorance, and I don't like hatred. That all breeds just bad things, especially in this country right now, which is trying to heal from things. I mean, there's such a division, such a polarized division in our country that it's something where I think, and even for myself, tolerance is an important thing to have. And I guess I just didn't want my name attached to that and be associated with that. I'm very much, the way I was raised is that your word and who you are as a man or as a person, your word is everything. That's what you've got at the end of the day. Material possessions are not really necessarily anything when it comes down to the end. And so I wanted to not be part of that, to be respectable the way I felt. Now, that's not saying that it's wrong, and if the group was named Legion of Idikbeer, I'd probably still be a member of it. I mean, there's a lot guys in there that I really love, and I still talk to this day. I feel like, unfortunately, I've probably damaged some relationships, because I'm sure people don't understand why I left, or don't think that it was good. And that's too bad. I miss talking to some people that I used to chat with, being part of that group. But at the end of the day, I have to live by the way my ethics and my code, and I just felt like that was the right thing to do for me. As far as is it more relaxed not having to go by the rules? Not really. I was really, I will say this. I mean, I tried very hard, although I tried very hard with everybody in the Legion to try to comment on their videos. Every one of them that I could, or most of them that I could. And I think I did a pretty good job with that. And so I was already kind of doing that, and that was kind of one of the rule sets. Although the funny thing is, I mean, that's a rule set, but there's certainly people in the group that don't comment on videos. you know, but I think the support structure which is there was really good, and I do miss that. But I was kind of already doing that, so I don't really feel like I miss that. And there's still people that I really care about. I mean, I still comment on their videos and try to watch their videos. I try to always watch their videos, you know, all the way through. It's hard sometimes, but you know, whenever I get a chance, like if I'm taking a break or working on something, I'll have it on to kind of watch, to kind of pay attention to kind of comment back. So sorry, I was probably a little long-winded, but yeah, no, I mean, I guess it's hard. I miss it. I miss the group a lot, but I feel like I did the right thing for myself. So anyway, next question. Thanks for the question, by the way. Tabletop banter, and it's Callum who asked it. Is great Q&A as ever, Shawn. If you had to take the gene seed of any 30k legion, which would you take and why? If I had to, I don't know if I'd really want to. I mean, they all have their drawbacks, and are you going to survive the process? You might not. And I'm an old guy, so I probably wouldn't at this point. But if I had to, I mean, and if I had a choice, and if I, you know, the problem is that, you know, you read the stories, and so you know the history and what every legion, you know, stands for. Now, if you're living in the 30k lore, and the people that they kind of take to add the gene seed to are usually pretty barbaric or pretty low tech, and so they probably have no idea. You know, they like I know with the Space Wolves, when they come and take their guys, they think of them as gods. You know, they think there's something special. You know, and so it's an honor to go with them. So they don't have any idea what, you know, the wolves really stand for. But if I had that precognition and I could choose, I would have to say, and you know, call me Rob, but I would have to say Thousand Sons. Not that I want to go through the change and get warped and all that stuff, but I do think that they tried to do what, you know, what they were very much in search of knowledge, and they took it too far, and Magnus was very proud, but I've always been kind of one of those people that I want to know everything and try to figure everything out and try to figure out the universe as much as I can. I mean, I know that I can't fully understand it ever, but I want to understand it. And so with being like that, I would think that I would fit into that legion the best. So it'd be Thousand Sons. You know, I just, that's what I would, you know, be into. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Probably not a surprise. So next question is Kablams. He says, sorry if I asked this before, but do you play any skirmish games at all, and any that you are interested in? If not, it's a good question. I know he plays Gork and Frostheim. Sorry if I got that wrong. I think that's what it is. Where you play a sorcerer and then their group. I currently don't, and it's not that well, yes and no. Currently, right in the last couple of months, I don't. I like them. It's just, it's hard, and I'm sure most people understand, with family, it's hard to kind of like do more than one game, and so kind of 30k even pushes into my 40k time, but it's really kind of just those two things. I was running a Necromunda league for a little while, but that kind of fell apart because it's hard to kind of keep everybody going on it when you got 40k and 30k tugging at it. So I like Necromunda. I've played that. My very first skirmish game that's got me into strategy games to begin with was BattleTech. I loved BattleTech, and I love the fluff. I mean, if anybody has read any of the books, and they're all out now because it's really not, I mean, it's kind of split apart, and it's not fast anymore because it doesn't exist, but they had some fantastic lore that was very much like 40k. Like, you really got invested in the characters and the universe and the governments and stuff. It was very good. I really liked it. So they kind of first ones that got me hooked on the fluff type thing, and then I got into 40k. But I did play BattleTech. I did play, excuse me, Gork Morka a little bit. Trying to think any other skirmish games. I have played Kill Teams a little bit with 40k. I don't like it as much. I like the bigger I guess I'm one of those guys that likes to play with all his toys versus, and even then, even 2,000 or less, I still can't. But yeah, I'm not as big as a skirmish fan with 40k stuff. But yeah, I've played them. I want to. I'm sure from what I hear, Necromunda is coming back out, and then also Battlefleet Gothic, which I did play a little bit. I didn't ever own any of it. I played what other people had and I used their stuff, but then it kind of went by the wayside, so I never really got any of it because I never got the models for it. So, but thanks for your question. Like I said, when Necromunda kind of gets more support again, and I'm hoping they kind of bring the rules up to date, like up to 7th or 8th edition, depending on when it comes out. That would help, because right now it's kind of stuck at 2nd edition, and it's hard to kind of go back and forth because a lot of things have changed in those editions, and that's when it was last supported. For instance, like when you're shooting at somebody, there's no cover saves like there are now, but now cover makes it like if you're in hard, like solid terrain, it's -2 to hit on your roll. It makes it harder to hit, and so once you do actually hit, then there's no cover save, and so it makes it harder. Plus, every creature had different movements. So humans had a 4-inch movement instead of 6. Eldar and Harlequins had 6 inches. So it's more difficult moving things around and remembering those things. Blasts work differently. Charging works differently. Overwatch, which was a thing then, worked differently. So it's harder to kind of get people to play it because you're trying to remember edition that's old and then still trying to remember to play 40k. So I think once the new rules get supported, and I'm hoping they bring them up to date, people will play it again. But thanks for asking, and hopefully you had a good holiday. And next question is from Chief Live Gaming. And he said, Jake said, great Q&A, Shawn, thanks for answering. Sucks about the campaign issues. Like you said, though, it's almost in the nature of the beast, which is crappy. The riddle kind of campaign sounds freaking amazing. Oh, sorry, there wasn't a question there. I thought there was a question. But the last time I talked about it, I was kind of frustrated with the campaign kind of not going through. Next question is from Will. Thanks for the Q&A. They are really helpful. While listening to your Q&A, you talked about how you like the narrative. What my question is do you have your own chapter faction? Thanks for sharing. When I actually, in 2nd edition, when I started the Space Wolves, and it was kind of different because you can kind of have your own sub-factions and different factions. I had made up a faction that were called the Warped Wolves, and although it wouldn't fly to this day when I was younger and nothing, but I thought of basically a group or part of a chapter of the Space Wolves that kind of got stuck while transporting in the warp and got a little tainted by the warp, but they were still loyalists. But they didn't really want to get close to anybody because I didn't want the Inquisition to kill them because they were a little tainted. And that was kind of fluffs. And I actually had them painted. And I'll have to get some out there. I have a kind of a wild purple, pink sparkly color that was their main color, and that was kind of the warp taint. Well, other than that, I haven't really had my own chapters. I've usually used the ones that I usually get involved with the fluff, and I like a certain faction. Now, some of them I've liked before they really had their color set. Eldar was my first army in Harlequins, and I had Simhan has always been my craft world because I always liked the Wild Riders and the way that they kind of are honor bound versus they may go against the Eldar if they feel honor bound to humans or something like that. So I kind of they're not as fickle as other Eldar, and I like that different houses can decide, okay, I'm going to war, but the whole craft world may not go to war. So I just kind of always liked their fluff when it came out, kind of in Rogue Trader when White Dwarf kind of started introducing it. They had a Void Dragon that was very similar to Simhan's symbol in Rogue Trader, but they turned out to be Corsairs. But originally they didn't have craft worlds. They talked about it like a brief sentence that they lived on vast craft worlds, but you didn't know anything about it. But yeah, I didn't really make my own factions that much other than that. I'm trying to think. I am trying to utilize my squats, and I did buy some of the Manic games, some of the Dwarf Forge Fathers, and some of the Exo Armor, and I'm making a like Imperial Guard army, and I even have a dwarf like priest for my IG, and then I'm going to use the regular squats as like guard, and then the Exo Armor and the Forge Fathers as Marine chapter, and they're going to be kind of they're going to be a brown and kind of gold with symbols, rune symbols, but they're going to be kind of like an Iron Warrior type thing where they have like the Feeling Pain type thing, just for fun to be able to utilize my squats. I have no idea. I started it, and then I always get kind of shiny on the next project, and so it's kind of been put on the back burner. And with everything with like 30K and 1,000 Suns and Gene Stealers, and still working on some Wolf stuff, I don't see myself getting to that anytime soon. So it's probably gonna be years, unless they come out with something squat-like, and then it gets me back on it. But I don't think they are going to. I think they've kind of said over and over the squats are kind of dead. So thanks for asking a question. Next question is from Saigon Sadler. It's an interesting question. What attracted you to 1,000 Suns above all other factions? And are there any other Forge World models or from other factions that you like the look of? Cheers, Matt. Yeah, 1,000 Suns, I always liked their fluff. And Ahriman was one of the first characters that actually, like, character models that came out in second edition, and along with like Abaddon and Karn the Betrayer, and so Lucius the Eternal and stuff. I like the 1,000 Suns fluff, and I've always been attracted to it. It's always been one of my favorites. So I just kind of feel bad for them, because I think they kind of got the short end of the staff, and they really wanted to remain loyal, and I think they would have. I mean, I do think that Magnus kind of intruding and kind of screwing up the webway, it was a big mistake, but he didn't mean to do that. I mean, he didn't want to. If he had known, he wouldn't have done it. The problem was the Emperor was being so secretive, and was it a fact that he didn't trust his sons? I mean, I think to some degree he must not have. And if you've read, I read the new book, and I need to do a review on it, but the Emperor in the Battle of the Webway, the Emperor of Mankind, it's actually interesting. You kind of get some different views, and kind of, how he really thought about, you always kind of hear that he called the Primarchs his sons, but you kind of get a feeling, and he does actually kind of say at one point, that they're kind of a tool to be used and discarded at some point. So I don't, he calls them his sons because he worked on them, and they love him, but I think he doesn't really see them as they're the ultimate, means to an end. I think he thinks there's going to be something, it would have been something else if things would have progressed. So I think the Primarchs would have been in for a surprise at some point anyway, and there probably would have been more revolution, depending on even if the Horus Heresy wouldn't have occurred. Who's to say for sure, but yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a little tragic what happened to him. So that's what I've always been drawn to. I always, growing up and everything, I always liked the wolves as the animal, and so I did kind of collect and get into space wolves, more for like their animal persona than anything, and they're kind of Viking, kind of Norwegian type of lore is what attracted me to him. I never really liked Leman Russ. I will get the model because I think he's cool, but I think Leman Russ is a big douche, kind of a big jerk. I just, it's muscle and do, just kill and do what you're told, but don't ever think about anything or question anything. And so I like Magnus. He is a little prideful, he gets into trouble, but I just like the 1,000 Suns fluff. As far as other models, there's tons of models that I think are just gorgeous and beautiful. I mean, there's a ton of Forge World models that are gorgeous, and some things that I'd like to have. I don't know if I ever will, but at some point I would like to eventually collect all of the Primarchs, even though I'm not going to build all of them. I think just painting them and having them on display would just be beautiful, having all the Primarchs. GW does a good job on all of them. I think all of the Primarchs look pretty great. I know some people don't like certain ones, but I think they've done a good job on most of them. So I think at some point I would like to have those as far as collecting. Um, Idic Beer asks, great answer, Shawn. What are your hobby goals for 2017? I guess I kind of didn't look ahead and look at this, but I kind of talked about that already. I kind of want to work on 30K, 1,000 Suns, 40K, 1,000 some of the newer stuff, and Gene Stealer Cult is probably my main goal. Maybe Wolves, but I mean that's a lot of projects, and honestly I don't know with kids and business and stuff will I get through it all. So that's my goals. And to have fun at Adepticon. So thanks for the question, Nick. Tattoo for you asks, good one, my friend. Always enjoy your vids. What's one rule you'd like to fix that would greatly improve games? I'm assuming you're asking about 40K. I'm gonna assume that. Excuse me. The one, if I had to just pick one thing, although I'd like to press it, I'd like to pick two things. But one thing, if I had to pick it, it would be do away with Battle Brothers and make the best thing that you can have Allies of Convenience. Now, why is that important? Well, it stops a lot of the Death Stars. It stops, Dark Eldar and Harlequins in the same unit. Now, I agree. There's times where they're going to work together, but a Dark Eldar and an Eldar would never join an Dark Eldar squad. They don't trust each other enough. They probably think he's going to stab me in the back the soonest opportunity he has. And so even Harlequins, I mean, if you look at Dark Eldar and Eldar, they'll do what they're bidding, kind of like an obligation, but they still think they're kind of weird or don't trust them 100%. Like something's they got something that they're hiding. I mean, they're always wearing a mask. Same thing. I mean, that's what I'm most familiar with. But another thing you can take is I see people buddying up with like Dark Angels and Liberius Conclave with Space Wolves. Those two factions, they will work together if they have to, but they don't like each other. I mean, that's even evident in the the Battle Fenris. The Dark Angels start bombarding him and want to like kill him, So I think that is a really dumb rule. I think Battle Brothers is stupid. I think let them be on the same battlefield together, but not join each other's squads. I think that is a really dumb thing that I wish they would have never instituted in 6, which it happened in 6. But 6, Tau could basically be with everybody. They were bros with everybody. Now, who abuses it the most is Imperium. Imperium is like, oh, you're just Battle Brothers. Everybody in Imperium. Well, Sisters of Battle tried to get the wolf with the Inquisition, and the Space was like, fuck you, and they basically started shooting the crap out of their tanks, and they're like, okay, well, I guess we'll leave because we're kind of outnumbered. They don't really like each other too much. Inquisition and wolves don't like each other. They don't trust each other. They would never join each other's squad. So, I mean, that's just a few examples there. But I think they abuse it the most right now. I mean, yes, Eldar, Dark Eldar, Harlequins can abuse it, but honestly, Eldar are so strong on their own, they don't really need allies. Harlequins and Dark Eldar kind of more need allies. Their armies aren't as strong, but Eldar by themselves really can do it by themselves. The second one that I would like to push to kind of get in there is I would like to see some work on the psychic powers. Invisibility is stupid. It's just dumb all around. That power needs to be nerfed or go away. I mean, honestly, that I would like to see that go away. A lot of the other ones aren't so bad, although the thing that also I think is making it difficult on the game right now is so much of the stuff they're giving away free stuff, like free transports or free, like the war convocation, all the free war gear you want, or being able to just summon demons. It makes it difficult for some armies to compete with that, and so I'd like to see that go away. And I think, they kind of took it away from the Pink Horrors when they redid the Pink Horrors. So I'm thinking they may kind of redo that a little bit, and maybe they're realizing that's kind of not the best move. What else? Honestly, I'd like to see, aside from invisibility, I'd like to see the 2-up reroll. So anything that gives you a reroll, but being able to have 2-up reroll invulnerable is ridiculous too. It's so hard, a 1 in 36 chance to like wound something, and then you've got feel no pain on top of it. It's even harder. I'd like to see that go away. Maybe the best reroll you can have is a 4-up, kind of like what ITC did. I don't like changing the rules. I want to play like GW has it, but I'd like GW to change that. It just makes the game not very fun or immersive. And they really, if I could pick other things too, they really need to do stuff to support assault armies, because they need all the help they can get. It's so hard for them to get across the board without getting shot up. And some have got it, and like Dark Angel's got a great formation where they can just deep strike and attack, which is great, but every army needs access to that so that the assault armies can do something, especially orcs. Or maybe just bring back that, like in 5th edition when you outflanked or came in on reserves, you could charge. That would help a lot, and it would kind of improve people that just, the leaf blowers or the Tau gun line that just parks in the back, because they'd have to go, well, geez, I better think about this because things are outflanking and I can get assaulted. So that's what I would like to see change with 7th. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, from what I'm hearing, it looks like they're going to kind of, unfortunately, I don't think they're going to help Battle Brothers. I think they're just going to have like Imperium and Xenos and Chaos. So that's not going to help the Death Stars, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But thanks for your question, Richard. Last question is from Frost and Fists. And I think it doesn't say, but I'm guessing it's from Mythos, because it says stay frosty. So awesome episode. I really liked the campaign bits you shared. As another RP player, was this your best experience as a GM? What was your best experience in an RP as a player? As a like running it, the last campaign, the one that I was talking about where, they had to kind of figure out things, was the most enjoyable campaign that I ran. As far as participating in one, I'm trying to think. I've had some that were really fun, but the hard thing is a lot of times they end up kind of fizzling out. I did have some campaigns that I played in BattleTech that were a lot of fun, where the unit kind of got experience. What would happen is we had a group of us, and someone would take turns running kind of the game and the opposition, and then we would play like the role-playing part, then also the battle, and someone would just run the other person's mech while they weren't playing. So that was a lot of fun. But it's hard with 40K to have a really good campaign. I did one with somebody that ran an Orc versus Imperium campaign that was pretty fun a while back. I guess probably almost a couple years ago. But that was a lot of fun. Anyway, that is all my questions. I hope you guys have a fantastic New Year. Thanks for staying with me. If you have all this time, sorry this was a little long. I will try to do a Q&A more in a shorter amount of time than I did last time. It kind of slipped away. I was planning to try to do one once a month, and then I just didn't realize it had gotten so far out that I hadn't done one. So my apologies, but anyway, take it easy. Keep on wargaming. Take care, guys.
Goodbye, you sexy motherfucker.